What's up, everyone? It's your boy Shilly's Vids here, going over another video. This one, we're going to go over the SIP processor, look at some of the real-time data, and kind of give you a window into how I got to think every day to solve some of the problems that we all have on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and take a look at the source of it all. So get ready. Anyways, what you're looking at here is the main script, and what we're going to do at the same time simultaneously is build a mind map so that those of you that aren't, code efficient can visualize what we're doing here from a different angle. So where we're starting, the starting point of all of this is the SIP processor. And that is the securities information processor. It is the consolidated data feed that contains trades, aggregates, quotes that you can get through various service providers. So we have nanosecond timestamp granularity, so nanosecond. And then from here, we have three different types. We have quotes, we have aggregates, and we have trades. And this is for the stock market. I'm specifically going over the stock market here, nothing else in this one. So you have aggregates, you have quotes, and you have trades. And these are all real-time as they happen in nanosecond granularity. So within these three categories, in the aggregates, you have, you have official open price, which is the official opening price of the stock ticker. You have the symbol name or the symbol. You have the open. You have the high. You have the low. You have the close. You have the VWAP. You have the aggregate VWAP. So the difference between those, the VWAP is the VWAP for the time frame that it was last recorded on. So for example, if you have an aggregate come in of like a Tesla quote, and then it comes in 2 seconds later, the VWAP would be the difference between those two time frames. So that's the aggregate VWAP itself. But the overall VWAP is the aggregate VWAP. That tallies the entire day's VWAP. So this is the value that you would want if you wanted the actual day's consolidated VWAP. And then we have volume. Then we have aggregate volume. Same thing, works the same way. The volume is the amount of volume that was captured between the different time frames, which is real time. And then the aggregate volume is the total amount of volume that comes in throughout the day. So this number will start at 0 at the beginning of the day once the market's open, and it will continuously go up as time progresses throughout the day. So that's your aggregates. Oh, and then you have number of trades. And of course, timestamp. So that's your aggregates. Then you have quotes. For quotes, you have a different set of attributes. You get obviously the symbol, which is the only common attribute between the three. So you have symbol, you have bid, you have ask, you have ask size, you have bid size, you have ask exchange, you have bid exchange, you have quote condition, you have quote indicator, you have the quote timestamp, and what else? You have the, I think that's it. Symbol, bid, ask size, ask exchange, bid exchange, quote condition, quote indicator, quote timestamp. I believe there's also a sequence number as well, if you wanted to find out what sequence it's in, because no two are going to have the same one. But that's generally it for the quotes. Just your quote data like bid, ask, spread, and what exchanges it came out of with conditions. Trades, different set of attributes here. You get obviously the symbol. You get the trade size. You get the trade price. You get the trade exchange that it came out of, and you get the trade condition, and you get the trade timestamp for that. So those are the three things. I'm going to zoom out here. So aggregates, quotes, and trades. This is the stuff you get from the SIP processor and the service provider that we use. So from here, what you can do is you can either feature engineer additional attributes on top of what's already provided here. For example, notice how in the aggregates category, there's no change percent provided, but you could calculate the change percent easily throughout the day by taking the difference of the official open price and the latest close price, which is going to be the latest price, and doing some simple math there. And then you can create the change percent attribute. And that's basically what feature engineering is creating attributes from attributes that exist in your data set already. Like, for example, for the quotes, you could engineer a attribute that could be ask or bid aggression, would be measuring the ask and bid size relative to where it was in the last measurement. And if it has a sudden spike or increase, then it could be attributed to an aggressive ask size or bid size, so on and so forth. Those are the three main categories. Now, when we go to the backside of it, backside, we have this exact thing. This is the trades right here. This is the aggregates right here that I just went over. And this is the quotes, all separated into different instances. So you see I have instance check here for each one of those. So I'm checking if it's an equity trade, I want this data out of it because it's all different. If I didn't do this, we'd run into problems because if I wanted to search for example, trade exchange, every time an instance came through that was not an equity trade, it would create an error in the program. So that's basically what you're looking at here. Same thing as what you just saw here. It's the same thing. But the difference is that in the real world, we actually have a lot of problems that have to be accounted for, which is what all this extra stuff is. Like, for example, these stock exchanges come in the form of an integer, and that integer correlates to the name of the exchange. So from the raw code, you're just going to see like 312 or 218, and you're not going to know what that is. So you actually have to go to the service provider website and look up what those exchanges are in the specification manual, and then, cross-reference them and exchange them for one another, and then you can tell what the stock exchange is. So I have it running right now. And what you're looking at here is just a bunch of RSI data that I'm getting in a subsequent script. But essentially what we're looking at here is the real-time script running. Now it's 6:30. I have 30 minutes left before this turns off. This is the real-time markets right now for stocks. I'm going to print the data up here. I'm just going to print M, and we'll look at the output here. This is before any conversions take place in the data. So I'm going to take this and pause it, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to take this snippet here from the equity ag. I'll just take one from each, from the equity trade and the equity ag. And I'll paste them side by side so you can see the difference before it's pre-processed. So I'm just going to space this out, paste this here. So if you look, you can't really tell, okay, yeah, the start timestamp is a bunch of numbers. It's a Unix timestamp unconverted in raw format. Then you have the end timestamp same way. You have the conditions here, just a list of numbers like 12 and 37. You don't know what 12 and 37 is, so you've got to reference those with the actual condition values that are provided from, again, the specification manual that allow you to convert everything. So that's what all that extra code was for. So when I erase this and now you look at this, you can see that what I'm doing here is I'm using this dictionary to basically convert the exchanges that come in. Same thing with the stock conditions. So now when we see it in the converted section of the code, then it's going to be where we can read it, like English. So I'm going to print the data here now, and we're going to look at the same thing, and you'll see that it's easier to read. So now let's take a look at this. I'll do the same thing. I'll just drop this down, space this out, and paste this. So here, when we have the converted value, now you can see, okay, it's a form T, which means it's after hours, or it's an odd lot trade. Okay, cool. Timestamp was 2023, 8/31, 18:31 and 29 seconds, which was exactly 1 minute ago when I was running this. But yeah, if you run this in real time, like we can tell it's real time because very easily we can just do this. Print data.get trade timestamp. and you'll see the timestamp print out in real time. But anyways, that's the main core of it. That's where the main, like the real-time source raw data is coming from. And then from there, what we're doing is we're putting it all into what's called a data queue that's going to put all that into a queue to be further processed by other functions in the program. And that's where our consumer function comes in. This is the consumer function here. So now we add in another node here. We type consumer, and basically all of this is fed into the appropriate queues. Let's add in the queue here. And they each have their own queue. Actually, that's not true. They all go into the same queue, which distributes to the consumer based on the instance type that comes in. So this all feeds in here. And then the queue is responsible for separating it out to the consumer, and the consumer breaks it down to whatever else we want to break it down to, like Discord, or if we want to do anything else, like we had a Telegram, we could do that. If we had, the channel webhooks, or any webhook for that matter, whatever you want. Basically, that's the next step, is you process it and send it all out. So, or mainly condition checks, filtering, which is the biggest part in all this. That's where all of the discovery comes from. So once we have the consumer ready to go to sort all the data out to be processed, we can start filtering it how we want. So if we go back here and we look at this data, like what we're essentially doing is, this is a lot of data. We're scanning, that's right now I filtered it down to the top 300 most traded tickers in the market by volume cap, or market cap, and trading volume. But still, that's a lot of tickers. We don't want to know all of that information all at the same time, which is why for the backdrop, this db.insert equity trade actually is a function that is inserting all of this into a database that's storing all of the raw data in the background, so that we can focus on separating out the foreground and finding, outliers that can be traded or studied, or anomalies, things like that. And that's the next step in all of this, is once we get all of the data put into the right queue and everything, and we got it to the consumer, now we can start working with it. So then we see things like this. If the data is stock aggregate, we're going to insert it into the equity aggregate table of the database. We're going to put the TD9 queue information into that queue, so we can start processing for the TD9, which is, the indicator that you can see on Webull. I'll actually go to it right now so you can see it, for example, for those of you that may not have seen it. But right here, TD9. And if you look at SPX today, holy shit, there was a lot of TD9 plays. Let's go to the 5-minute. I scalped this mofo several times today. I need to change the background. That is terrible looking. Background, let's do black. And we have extended hours on. Yes, we do. Oh, I need to change that as well. Appearance, extended hours. Let's do that. It's a little bit grayer so we can tell the difference. And let's go to 5-minute. Where? This is TD9. Right here. I mean, look at the 5-minute today, bro, for the TD9. Right here. For the 5, you had one here, and then the 1 minute to close off the day. Holy shit, dude. That 9 made a killer move. Missed that one. It got sidetracked. But anyways, this is the TD9. That's what that function is scanning for. So we go back here, and the filtration. This is where we start scanning for TD9 processing. And then basically, when we find anything lucrative or that we want to know about, we send it to Discord in the form of an embed. And that's what the processing tasks are for. So if we go to the processors, that's what all this shit's for. It's a whole different file now. We're going to zoom out. This is a whole different file. It basically takes in the tickers that are being passed to it from the queue. It scans all of the TD9 and the RSI information on the 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 61, 22, 40, 390 time frames. And basically, if any TD9 countdown or setup formations have been identified, it will send it to the Discord. And the Discord, we'll see, should be having feeds coming right now. So the 1 minute right now. But why I made this video is because I'm going to show you like this feed here. Like it doesn't have much on it. You just get, okay, I can see what symbol came in. It's PSNY, PSNY. And the TD9 is on the 60 minute at 6:37 p.m. or the 1 hour time frame. So if we go now to PSNY on the 1 hour time frame, we get our TD9. And the reason why it says countdown complete, if you read the description of the components, it consists of two main parts, the TD setup and the TD countdown. The TD countdown, following the completion of the setup, which is the 9 consecutive candles that close higher or lower than the 4th consecutive candle before it. The countdown phase begins, consisting of 13 price bars. So now we go look at the chart, and we look and we see the 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the setup is there. The TD9 is there. I have it filtered to where if it is within 3 candles after the 13th candle, it will trigger the TD9 alert. So anyways, going back to it all, that's basically how it all works. But you notice this one here, there's not really a lot on there. We got the definition of what it is, but we could add more information on here. Now, how would I go about doing that? Well, if we go back to our main processor here, and we go back to our main script that's running the real-time market data right now, let's go ahead and go to where we basically work with that embed. So let's scroll down here, and we're going to go to td9q.put ticker. Then we go to our processor here. That's going to be our scan TD9 and RSI. So essentially, we create this embed right here. Right here. This is the embed that you're seeing in Discord. So all this text here is what you're reading in the Discord. So if we wanted to add additional data here, what we could do is import functions from another SDK. We'll go ahead and use, Weeble right now for the example. So up here, I already have it imported. Okay, perfect. Already got it imported. So all we got to do now is above where we have the embed, I just got to say stock data equals await Weeble dot get stock data. And we're going to put in the ticker, obviously, as the parameter. And then from here, I have it all in dot notation. I'll zoom in a little bit. So from here, all we got to do is hit stock data dot, and then we have everything. We have our average 10-day volume, so on and so forth. So from here, I'm just going to do a check to make sure if stock data is not none, then we're going to add some additional embed fields. And actually, I'm going to put this below where the embed is defined so that I can add the embeds only if the data exists. So from here, essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, so embed.add embed field, name is going to be day stats. And the day stats are going to be opening price for the day, which is going to be stock data.open. Then we have high, which is going to be stock data.high, or Weeble stock high. Then we have the low, stock data.Weeble low. Then we have the close, or I'll put now, stock data.close. Then, we could stop here at this embed to, not put too much text in one spot. We could add another one. We can say volume snapshot. We can say value is today. We'll put stock data dot Weeble stock volume, and then we'll actually format this as a float so that we can incorporate the commas, make it look nicer for the user. And then we can put average 10-day, float this one as well, stock data dot average 10-day volume. Then we'll do average 3-month, float stock data dot average 3-month. And then from here, we'll add in the RSI snapshot. So what we'll do is RSI snapshot equals await poly.get or RSI snapshot. ticker, and then we will simply say embed.addEmbed field. Name is RSI snapshot, and the value is simply the RSI snapshot, formatted with Python formatting so it looks a little nicer. Now we're going to refresh this, and we're going to see the difference of this embed in the Discord just from what I've just done there. So I'm going to read all those so that we'll see when the first alert comes in. Hopefully the internet doesn't go out between now and then. I've been having internet problems lately, but I am getting a new service provider on Saturday, so that's going to be badass. 30 minutes came through. Okay, so now you can see we have a little bit more information to work with. It looks a little bit more better. So instead of just having the definition of what the TD9 is, we actually have the day stats for the ticker that flagged. This is a 30-minute time frame. We have the volume snapshot. We can easily see, okay, is it trading above its average volume, below its average volume, or is it right on par? And we can see that as of today, AMC is trading well above its 10-day and 3-month averages. The RSI snapshot, we can clearly see that it's oversold on the day and the week at a 24.28 RSI. And then we can also see that it is also exhibiting traits of a TD9 countdown complete on the 30-minute time frame. So go to AMC, 30 minutes. We see here, we do have the TD9 here in the chart that flagged at 2:30 p.m., 10, 11, 12, 13. So right at close, it's basically traded flat. So that signal is going to hold until a candle breaks above or below this number 9 candle here. Look at that wick to 1092. Crime. Anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. That's the thoughts I have to go through every day just on a minimal level. And it's more complicated than that, because if we go to the database here, let's go to the database. Let's say PSQL. We're going to connect to the database master. We're going to see what tables we have. We're going to say, all right, select all from top options, open interest, increase. But I want to know where well, I don't know the attribute names. Let's just do this first. And then I'll zoom out so we can see the column names. We're going to say, okay, I got it. So select position. Actually, let's do this. Let's do strike price, expired date. We're going to do unsymbol, which is the underlying symbol. We'll do that first. Unsymbol, strike price, direction, and expire date from top options, position increase or OI increase, where position change is greater than, let's just say 5,000. Order by expire date. I have to do any on this one. My bad, messed up that query. Query. Let's do this. Select unsymbol, strike price, direction, expired date from top options, POS increase, where, let's just do this. Let's do this like this, like this. Now it's going to give me problems, of course. There we go. So anyways, that's the output from this position increase database. Right? So just there's so many different layers of this that you can store, study, correlate, all kinds of different shit. The hard part is designing the way you're going to do all of this, which is what I'm currently trying to wrap my head all around. So, duplicate value. That's a problem. Got to fix that. But as far as records that we have, let's go to daddy here to FUD stop, and we'll say select count from option equity trade. This is just from today. 3,887,806 records were recorded today. And that's with my internet going out intermittently. So it should have been a lot more. But when I get this internet fixed, it's going to be substantially more. And I'm going to run out of storage space. So this shit's going to scale very quickly. But that's what the group is for. Because unbeknownst to some people, it's easy to say that you're a shill for charging for the Discord. But it's not what it's about. We're not charging for the Discord. I pay to be here too, because at the end of the day, this data is not free, and the licensing and the rights to acquire distribution to be able to even do what I'm doing now with this data costs a fuck ton of money, more than most people's mortgage payment per month, which is why you need not one retard to be able to pay for this, but a bunch of retards that all come together, and everyone, I guess, entrusted this retard with the, the task of trying to figure this out from a back-end perspective, because I guess I'm gay dad. Who knows? But happy to be here. We're going to keep figuring this shit out. We're going to keep moving forward. And that's all we can do, man. And eventually, we will reap what we sow.